Well, welcome to another episode of Rimshots with Sean right here on the Rock Rage Radio Network, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk and Mapex Drums, because, hey, I'm a Mapex Drums guy and I'm an artist and I got to promote those guys, so thank you for that. I have with me Conney Zuzock from the band Detoure, and when I talked to Brian, he said you have to ask her about the bike event that's coming up this week, so I'm going to ask about that right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. That's why I'm not at home. I'm actually traveling, getting stuff done so I can head out. Yeah, we have our debut show this week, Thursday at Rock and Ranch Saloon in Sandusky, Ohio. Yeah.
Sandusky, Ohio. I know quite a few people who are from Ohio, and it's a great state for music. You must be excited. You say this is your very first show with the band.
My very first show with my band, yeah, as Detoure. I mean, I've jammed with other bands and stuff like that, but I've not done mine. So this is good.
Okay, so for anybody that's watching this, and you'll have an audience anywhere from, Canada, where I am, to the United States, to the UK, to all basically right around the globe. The event that you're playing is what?
It's Ohio Bike Week, Sandusky Bike Week is how they've got it on the flyer. Rock Rage Radio is putting it on. They're one of the sponsors. So it's
Rock Rage is awesome.
Rock the Night with Scotty Austin. So that's what it is, and we're one of the opening bands.
Awesome. That is fantastic. I would suspect that my friend Jasmine Kane is going to be on that. She's usually on this. Yeah.
She's been there like all week, I think. Yeah.
She's a spunky little thing, and she's super talented, and we like to help promote the ladies whenever we can. So you said you're away from home. Where's home for you?
Home is Charlotte, North Carolina.
Charlotte, North Carolina, home of the Hurricanes, kind of.
Yep.
Sorry about that playoff exit, but that's all right. Good things, still bright future.
Yep.
What's the scene like there?
Very busy, very, very, very busy. As far as rock, it's touch and go, hit and miss. If you get in, it's good. If not,
So is it clicky?
Clicky, there are clicky, but I fit in. I can fit in with all of them. I can put my hair up and be no problem.
Well, I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, because you got to figure out where you want to fit and what you want to do, and then I guess how you get there. So, I always hate. No, absolutely, absolutely. How long? So this is the debut show. So how long has the band been together?
Well, technically, I've been a solo artist since 2009.
Okay.
And I didn't find this particular band until January of this year. It's been a journey.
We'll talk about that a little bit. I mean, from 2009 till now. I mean, I'm not great at math, but it's a long time. It's what 16 some years. What took you that amount of time to find this group of people?
Most of it was in 2010. I had an injury happen, and I stepped away from the music scene for a while.
Yeah.
So life kind of, just took me on a journey. And then 2022, I got back into it. I'm like, okay, something's missing. What's missing? Oh, music. It's been all my life, and I kind of walked away for a while because I had to. And then, because I had to battle a few cancers, and had things hit me. So came back with a fire under me. So, and then I started the search for my band members, but it's been, you're too old, or you're too young, or you're not our style, or, it's been everything under the sun. And then at the last batch I thought we were good. And at the very last second, before we had a show and before we had a photo shoot, my guitarist said, I'm going to go focus on my cover band. I'm like, you just completely sunk me. So yeah. And so my drummer, God love him, AJ, he's like, Connie, let me find people by me. And thank you. And he says that we'll get the band together by me. We'll practice, and then when we're ready, you just come up here, and we'll be ready for you. And so I went with it because my day job, I was busy, I couldn't be around. So that's what we did. And he did. Within a week, he had Ralph, my guitarist, and Ken, the other guitarist. I have two. And then Ralph brought in Wednesday. I have another chick in the band.
Awesome.
And she's got the same hair. I loved it. I was like, yeah, you're in. Um, you're my twin. You're in. Um, so that's kind of how it happened. It's been years of searching, losing them, firing them. It's been all over the place, but I finally have the perfect group, I think. I really do. We click.
Well, and so for anybody that's not in a band, they wouldn't understand. Like it's not like a normal work situation where you can go to work and hate somebody's guts and tolerate them from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Music is a very different sort of thing,
Yeah. Yeah. You
right?
got to get along.
You have to get along, but if you're writing your own material,
Yep.
and then there's another layer that goes on top of that because if somebody's not respecting your material, it's really hard to be around them and work with them, and right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That was one of the
Um,
bass players. Yeah.
I want to something that I was telling my lovely who I promote her music, um, James Michael, who is the singer of 6 a.m.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He had a
Love
thing.
them.
Yeah, he had a thing that was on today, and I'll send it to Brian to send to you because I've been sending it to some of my musician friends, and it's very cool. He
Okay.
has a spoken word podcast that he does, and this thing is titled. Let me see if I can find it just really quickly. Why I don't love music anymore.
Oh,
And
huh.
what it's about is how this business has gone from being creative and writing for yourself, but trying to get stuff out there that you respect, to writing for the algorithm and writing for people that don't even like music, and basically having to do all of that to try to further your career. Do you
Mhm.
feel sometimes that that's what you see in the business?
What I see is everything's so digital that artists don't make money now,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
and everything has changed. Everything, getting a record deal is not, oh, you get an advance of $100,000. No, it means they're backing you, but you're footing everything,
Yep.
It's totally different. It's definitely a starving artist market.
So one of the things I would say about the old school record deal to how it works now is now it's better, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because in the old days, they would give you that money, but what they wouldn't tell you is it was basically a bank loan. And there's a
Oh,
term
yeah.
called
Me too.
recoupment. And if you weren't
Hmm.
recouped,
Yep.
they would roll that into the next record. And I know of
Hmm.
so Greg Chason, who played in the band Badlands with Jake
Hmm.
Ely,
Yeah.
he's a good friend of
Oh,
mine.
love Jim
You can't find the Badlands, first Badlands album anywhere.
because of
You
the
can
rights.
find it online. You can't find physical copies. And he's convinced it's because uh, Atlantic Records never allowed them to become recouped. Therefore, they never own their masters, and therefore they'll never get
Right.
them back. Right. And
Right.
so that's why in this day and age, and Curtain Call, yeah, I know you're working with them.
Yep.
They don't ask you to hand your masters over. You keep those. You keep your publishing.
Right.
You keep that stuff. So it's in that
Yeah.
sense, it's better.
It is. It is. It's very much better. The only downside is, when I want to get stuff done, I really, I'm the only one footing the bill. The band doesn't. I don't ask them to.
Yeah.
Um, but I will eventually if they can make an investment. I'm more than happy to let them, do it. So yeah, it's better, but then, in the end, you're still paying for it though.
Sure. Um,
Yeah.
I hate to do this, Connie, but I do this because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to take an audience of thousands and saying, okay, I've got 15 minutes to kind of introduce them to this band that's with Curtain Call. So I
Yeah.
always say, okay, if you were to do a comparable, who would you compare yourself to? And I'm not saying compare because you like it, but if I was to say that so that people go, oh, I love that band, I'm going to go check them out. Who would you compare yourselves to?
Hailstorm.
Ah, okay.
The
So,
fire, the energy, the lyrics, uh the attitude, all of it. Oh yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
and
I
you
love
got
them.
you got a drummer that's almost an RJ, he's an AJ, so that
Yeah.
kind of
He's
works, right?
AJ. Yep. Out
No, that's
here.
cool. I mean, she's badass. I mean, she's one of
Yeah.
the I'm gonna call her one of the last. They're one of the last rock bands I think that are from that kind of age. Everything now is just so
Right.
vanilla, right?
Right. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. Or it's, computer generated or,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, you spend your whole life
Mhm.
learning how to play, and then some guy goes in his bedroom and says, "Hey, AI, can you do me a song that sounds like Lizzie Hale that has this
Yeah.
guitar thing?" And boom, out pops a song that sounds like it. So yeah, no, it
Right.
is frustrating. However,
Right.
it's finding the right people to work with, I think, and
Mm.
it's finding those people that want to care about your tunes and everybody else, whatever.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And I know. And I knock that, but I don't because the album that is out, Anti X's. I actually created all that music on my own because I did not have a band. So it is software loops, except for one song.
Yeah.
And that song was sent to me by a relative of Jerry Garcia.
Oh, very cool. Very
Yes.
cool.
And that's my parade, and it's my favorite track because it's actual musicians. I hated doing software, but that's all I had. And my then husband bought it for me and said, "Hey, I want your music to come out." Okay.
Well, and let me be clear. I don't think there's like I had a post on my socials today and it kind of blew up a little bit. To me,
That's
there's
raw.
well, yeah, there's some very tired things, the whole thing about backing tracks, yawn, and
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's just a narrative that, oh, well, you know what? Somebody posts about a band that doesn't have a couple of the original members. Ah, it's a cover band. And like it just the stuff that
Right.
people get into is just silly.
Right.
When it comes to this
Right.
AI and software generated stuff, if it's somebody that actually is a musician, to me it's not a bad thing. To me, it's you get in trouble when the banker who's never picked up an instrument before makes an album that comes out, and that to me is an issue,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Totally.
So I don't think you
Yeah.
should ever feel bad about using that software.
Yeah.
So tell me about the album. How many songs are on this album?
7 tracks. It's been a long day. 7 tracks on it. The last one I do want to put out there. There's a video for it. I made it myself on our YouTube channel. And all proceeds for the sale of that song, whether it's streaming, whatever it is, goes to domestic violence shelters.
Oh,
That's
wonderful,
my baby. Yeah.
wonderful. Without getting too far into the weeds, obviously that you have a personal attachment to
Very.
that organization.
Yeah.
Good.
Very.
And I think and guys that when you're watching this, consider that because I think stuff like that is very important and it often gets overlooked. So good for you to do that. So you got this show coming up, and then what else is going on for you guys? I mean, I can tell you're excited. I can tell you're excited.
I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm not excited for the 9-hour drive, but I
Yeah.
am excited. I am excited. We have a new single coming out. I'm not sure on the date yet. I'm aiming for July 3rd. It's called Turn and Run. It's a song about addiction. And I'm going to test the waters and cross some lines with the video. I've already shot some of it, and we're focused on sex addiction. So I'm just going to have everybody going, whoa.
Okay. So you guys, I
It's
mean,
one that's never talked about.
you're not shying away for some interesting topics. Again, without
Mhm.
getting into the weeds too much because I don't
Yeah.
want I don't want to give stuff away, and B, it's nobody's business. But is
Right.
there in terms of that, how did you, I guess, decide? Okay, it's going to be about this. Was it an experience that you or somebody had that, or somebody that you knew had, and you decided, oh, okay, we're
The
gonna,
single,
yeah, yeah,
that song.
yeah,
Yeah, I started writing it for as a perspective for people that I do know that are either they are sober. I actually started writing it for Ivan Moody, believe it or not, because I admire that man.
yeah,
But I also know my hair girl has a family that is addiction and it's an issue. So I started writing it for that, and that's really what it is. But I also threw in uh, that you do fall off the wagon.
yeah,
So I made it more personal. And then I wanted to be more risky, so I decided sex addiction because there are various forms of that, and yes, I'm one of them. So, and it's not what you think. Mine is more of I just want the attention because I was neglected for so basically all my life. Um, so it's more of a I just want that connection,
yeah, yeah.
and that is a form of the addiction. You crave that. I'm good now, but others, when people talk about that, they think, oh, you got to go off and do the D all the time. That's what most people think, but there's various forms.
Yep.
It's not always that, and it's usually trauma based. So I just want to touch on it and educate. That's what I want to do.
Well, and I think that is very good because to your point, I think there's this salacious connotation everybody kind of draws, and I don't have any experience with that whatsoever, but I would think
Yeah,
that, oh, there'd be some snickering and because people think, oh, it's got to be this and they don't understand it. And it's
yeah,
like that with any, I guess,
yeah,
addiction. So
yeah,
good on you to do that and good on you to put your hand up and say, hey, I'm going to tackle this. And that's
yeah.
fantastic. When's that due out, do you think?
The video probably will be August, but the single itself will be July, early July. I've already asked for July 3rd. It's up to the label when they finally are ready to do it.
Yeah,
I went back and forth with getting it mastered so many times it got delayed. So,
yeah, yeah.
so
I
I'm
love to
picky. I'm
ask
like,
this
no, it doesn't sound
question.
good.
I love to ask this
Yep.
question because I'm so Curtain Call is part of Rock Ridge Radio Network, and my
Yep.
podcast is on there. I always like to ask our artists, uh, I guess, why they like working with Curtain Call because I know why I like working with them. I know why I like doing
Huh.
things with them. But as an artist, what do you feel
Mhm.
is a good upside if you were to pitch Curtain Call to somebody else? What would you say?
Mhm. They care about their artists. They do. They really do. I will say Brian is like my biggest pep talker.
Yeah.
I have vented to him a few times, and he's caught on that I'm in a bad mood or something, and he just got done lecturing me right before this before I logged on here. I'm
Well,
like, okay, okay.
what's the line? Don't
Yeah,
feel special. He did the same thing. Well, he didn't lecture me,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
he gave me some instructions, which I greatly appreciated. He said that the band is new. You have this gig coming up, and
Mhm.
he wanted me to tackle that, which I
Mhm.
did right out of the gate. So check,
They
check.
did. They did.
But what I will say about these guys, so I haven't met Gigi yet. I only just got to kind
Me
of talk to
neither.
Tex. I've talked to John a lot. I talked to Brian a lot.
Yep.
The thing I like about them, I get why, because almost everybody that I've asked that question of when I interview their artists brings up the care factor,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, I referred two people to John this week, actually. One's from up here in
Nice.
Canada, the other one's from LA. They both said the
Nice.
same thing. So I think that's important. I think that's great because you don't typically refer to your record label in those terms, right?
Sorry, guys.
No, well, you
I
don't. I
let
mean, I
everybody
think it's
know that
great.
you know.
I think it's great. I mean, you don't say that your record company cares about their artists because I mean, sometimes they do, but I mean, I had the opportunity two
Yeah.
weeks ago to interview Alan Niven that managed Guns N' Roses for, their first up until the first two Illusion albums came out. I mean, Alan mixed Appetite for Destruction, and you know, some of the stuff that he told me, he was like, you can't really care about the artists as much as people think because you got to keep them on the straight and narrow and make sure that they're being taken
Yeah.
care of, and and let's
Yeah.
call it what it is. We're musicians; we know how to manipulate, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah. And
100%.
John and Brian both know they'll call you on it. They're like, no, straighten up because they've
Yeah.
done it to me. They're like,
Yep.
okay, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, that's something I really like about so I've had Brian and I kind of have would be like two guys sitting across the table having a beer and just kind of shooting the breeze on some stuff. And when I talk to
Yeah.
John, it's a lot more strategy because like I say, he's been doing some stuff for my girlfriend Michelle, and I just have to be able to trust people. And just the second I met those guys, it was like boom, they're just good
Yeah.
fellas, and I like what
Yeah.
they do. Um,
Yeah.
so you get the show coming up. We already talked about that. It's going to be Sandusky, Ohio. I've been to Sandusky. It's a great place. It should be absolutely slamming with that event. Where do I send my people to find out more about you guys and get your music and all that good stuff?
The best place is actually our Facebook, because it's got all the links on there
Awesome.
to everything else. Got the links to the Spotify, the IG, well, yeah, everything. And it's Detour with a capital D, Etoure, and then the number 8 after it to find us. Yep,
Fantastic. A good
perfect.
friend of mine that's a DJ up here in my town. She always calls it the Facebook, the Twitter, the X. So, go to those places and you'll find.
Yep.
Connie, I want to thank you for doing this. I know it looks like you're getting ready to have a quick snack before you're moving on down the road, but I'm glad we were able to do this. I'm
Yep.
glad I was able to meet you, and best of luck with the show this week.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
Oh, you should be. We're back after this, kids.
Yes.